previously swore you under oath?
Yes, ma'am.
You're still under oath to tell the truth, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Please state your name for the record.
Joshua Brown.
And is that common spelling?
Joshua Brown.
Joshua, how old are you?
I'm 28.
28 years old?
Yes, ma'am.
And where are you originally from?
Jacksonville, Florida.
And when did you move to Texas?
2008.
Did you graduate high school?
Yes, ma'am.
What high school did you graduate from?
Crossroads.
Did you attend college?
Yes, ma'am.
And what college did you attend?
South Florida.
And what was your primary studies in?
Interdisciplinary science.
How many years of college did you complete?
4 years.
And what did you do once you graduated?
Continued to train and try to play football, and ended up picking up a job. After I graduated college, I started doing roofing. So I was a roofing contractor for a few years.
And what kind of work do you do now?
I try to run in my own business. I manage Airbnbs, and that's about it right now. I manage like 4 Airbnbs, 2 in LA, 1 in Atlanta. I'm trying to get 1 in Dallas now, so that'll be the 4th one. That's what I do now.
And Joshua, you've had some issues in the past with police officers in the criminal justice system, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And in 2011, you had a misdemeanor theft conviction.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then in 2016, you had a possession of controlled substance conviction.
Yes, ma'am.
That was a state jail felony.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, I want to direct your attention to September 6th, 2018.
Okay.
Where were you residing at the time?
Southside Flats,
What was your apartment number?
1437.
Earlier that day, did you get a visit from the leasing office?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell the court about that?
The leasing people came, knocked on our doors, and it was like they had a noise complaint. It was around like 2 p.m. It's kind of odd, because there wasn't no noise.
Okay, and you said our doors. When you say our, who are you referring to?
Botham door. They came and knocked on me and Bo's door, and that's how I actually met him, because he came out of the door.
Okay. And that was on the day of September 6, 2018, at about 2 something in the afternoon?
Yeah, around like 1 or 2.
Okay. And you said it was for a purpose of a noise complaint, but there was no noise?
Right.
Okay. And that was your first time meeting Botham Jean?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did y'all have a conversation that day?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What did y'all talk about?
Basically how me and Bo were both smoking weed, and we kind of knew that it was coming to our door because of maybe the scent of the weed.
Okay. And can you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, where was your apartment in relation to Mr. John's apartment?
So my apartment was right here. I could reach over. Bo's apartment was probably like directly across from mine.
May I question you, Sean?
Yes.
Okay. And based on this diagram, take you to 34A, do you recognize where your apartment is located?
Mr. Brown, can you please raise your voice?
Yes, ma'am. It's right here to the top.
Okay. Indicating 1437. Okay. Now, you said you came up through the parking garage and got off the elevator. What does that elevator drop you off at? This is the elevator?
This is the elevator.
She can't hear me. She'll take you down.
This would be the elevator, and this would be the hallway where I walk to my door.
Okay. So when you started to come down this main hallway, what do you hear?
When I get about right here.
And is that where the 2 hallways meet to make the turn? Okay.
When I get about right here, it's kind of when I hear like what I would describe as 2 people meeting each other on some
You said when you get to the conjunction between the two hallways, you hear what sounds like two people meeting by surprise. Is that a yes?
Yes, ma'am.
And what made you think that it was two people meeting by surprise?
Because I couldn't make out what either one of them was saying. I couldn't tell y'all today that what either one of them was saying. It was like, it wasn't English, so but I just knew it was two people meeting, two human beings meeting. So I mean, that's the only way I could describe it.
Okay. Was it two separate voices?
Yes.
Okay. Could you tell if one of the voices was giving loud commands like stop, police, or anything of that nature?
Yeah, but no, that wasn't what they were saying.
That's not what you heard?
No.
Okay. However, you say you didn't hear exactly what you heard.
No, I can't say I heard any type of words that I can make out.
Okay. Once you, in that conjunction between the two hallways, and hear the voices and the pop, how soon after the voices did you hear the sound of gunshots? Right after?
Right after.
It was quick? And the two gunshots you heard, were they quick? Okay. What did you do when you heard the two gunshots?
I ran back out of here.
Okay. Fair enough. And so you ran back out toward the elevator area?
Right here, because I can see my door from right here. So I ran here, about right here, and look and see if I can see somebody in my apartment.
Okay, because this courtyard is open air courtyard, correct? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you can see directly across.
Yes, ma'am.
So you're looking to see if someone is in your apartment. Okay, how long did you stay in this particular area of the garage?
I seen a guy come out, I seen other people come out of the patio, and I asked them, with those gunshots that I heard, they all said yes. So probably like within 2 minutes, I put it in my head, like I still got my dog in my room. So I went back, walked back over there.
Okay, so you start walking back towards your apartment down the same corridor. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then did you make the corner? Okay. Once you made the corner, did you observe anybody in the immediate area of your apartment?
No,
Okay. Did it look like there was any disruption in this immediate area of your apartment? Okay. Did you proceed into your apartment at 1437?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You may take your seat. Joshua, when you get into your apartment, what was the next thing you did?
First thing I did was just checked on my dog, make sure everything was straight, and honestly, I went over the balcony, kind of like turned my game on, and went off the balcony.
Okay. And when you went over to the balcony, did you see anything when you looked outside the balcony?
I seen like it took a minute, but then I seen her come out.
And when you say her, you pointed over towards the defense table.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you see the defendant, Amber Guyger, come out?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What did you observe her doing?
Just on the phone.
And were you on your balcony looking out the balcony door, or were you looking out the window?
I was looking at the balcony, and then I went to the window.
And you see her on the phone. Can you describe her demeanor?
She was crying, explaining what happened, what she thought happened, saying she came into the wrong apartment, and that was about it.
Do you recall, Joshua, how long you were inside your apartment before you heard the defendant in the hallway?
Probably like 2-3 minutes.
one point, did you go to your front door?
Yeah, I kept looking out my front door.
Did you open the door or were you looking out the peephole?
I was looking at the peephole.
And when you're looking out the peephole, what do you see?
I just see her like going back and forth on the phone, and then I think she went back inside and came back out.
When she comes back out, has other officers arrived?
At this time, I'm not sure, cause I think I seen some more officers, but I seen officers in the courtyard when I was on the balcony. So they didn't get there by the time she got there. She came out her room. I mean, she came out onto the hallway and met the officers. That was what you asking? Yeah.
I'm just trying to make sure I understand. The first time you see the defendant, she's on in the walkway, you're on the balcony, and she's on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then she goes back into the apartment?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then you see her exit out of the apartment again?
Yes.
Okay. Had you ever seen the defendant before on your floor?
No, ma'am.
Have you ever seen her in the apartment complex?
No, ma'am.
Had you met the complainant before that day?
The complainant, you mean?
The Botham Jean.
Both? Yeah. Yes. Well, I met him that day.
Okay. Had you ever seen him in the building before that day?
No, I can't say I can't say I seen him. I heard him in there.
Okay. When you say you heard him, what did you mean?
Heard him singing every morning.
Okay. You heard him singing. What kind of things did you hear him sing?
Gospel music, Drake.
And your door is directly across the hall from where Mr. John's apartment is, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So in the morning, were you inside of your apartment when you heard Mr. John singing, or outside of your apartment?
I'll probably hear him when I come out, lock my door. I'll hear him.
So from in the hallway, you can hear his activities inside his apartment. Yes? You have to say it out loud. Sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, okay.
Yes. Here.
Thank you. And we can take a moment, Joshua. This is fine. We're not in a rush, okay?
Yeah, we need a moment.
Deputy Johnson. You retired.
All rise.
After this conversation with Martin Rivera, there is a marked difference. That conversation ends at 9:55:21. At this point here, she gets back into the lane of traffic. But what's important is I'm fixing to go through some of the stuff that happens in a short period of time after that. At 9:55:21, Botham has less than 3 minutes and 44 seconds to live. What happens in this 3 minutes and 44 seconds? Amber Guyger fails to park on the floor that she's supposed to. She drives up to the 4th floor and she parks there instead. That can happen. And I'm going to tell you folks, I'm not trying to be nitpicky. Any number of these things in isolation can be explained. It's a cumulative total in the comparison of her respective attentiveness before and after this call. She parks on the wrong floor. She actually backs into a parking spot in the parking garage on the 4th floor. From her vantage point where she is parked, all the way until she gets out of her truck, she drives a white Dodge pickup truck, and all the way forward until she walks into a skyway that connects to the apartment complex itself, you can see it's an open-air garage. You can see the elevation 180 degrees around. You can see the roof line of the apartment complex that you don't see from the 3rd floor. It is a completely different perspective. She fails to recognize that. Just like she fails to recognize that she's parked on the 4th floor. She then enters, she goes past a skyway that is also open right to her left and right, where she could look if she chose to, either side, and see, this isn't right. She either doesn't do that, or it doesn't register either. She has a key fob that will allow her access to anywhere in the apartment complex. She uses that to walk into the 4th floor hallway. She has to go down 2 very long hallways now in order to get to what she thinks is her apartment. But in fact, she's walking towards both. It's a long walk. For someone as young and fit as her, maybe a minute or 2. But a minute or 2 is actually a long time for you to keep on missing repeatedly obvious signs that something is not right. She walks past 16 different apartments and fails to register the number 4 on any single one of them. Next to the door of this apartment complex, there's a lighted sign. And on the lighted sign is the apartment number. It's a little bit different than most apartments. Everyone that I've lived in growing up, they always have the numbers on the door. But she lived there for 2 months. She knew where the apartment numbers were located. And she walked past 16 of those without recognizing it. Well, maybe the explanation for that is she doesn't look straight ahead when she's walking. Maybe she looks down. All right? There are floor mat differences. Not major, but enough that you would notice that something isn't right. As she gets to the end of the first hallway, there's a sharp left turn. On the 3rd floor, Miss Bly, a neighbor of hers, who lives in that corner apartment, she's got this really pretty decorative planter. It's big. It's tall. It's obvious. At least twice a day, you would think, for the last 2 months, Amber Guyger has walked past that decorative herb. And on this particular evening, it's not there because she's on the wrong floor. Doesn't register. Whatever is on her mind after that conversation has consumed her attention entirely. And she's missing obvious things. She then goes down the rest of the hallway because then she turns left. And she's walking up on Beau's apartment, 1478. And this is the one I really want y'all to hear. Amber Guyger has no floor mat in front of her door. Amber Guyger has nothing but the concrete floor. Gray, concrete floor that looks like the rest of the floor. Botham Jean wanted his apartment to be very noticeable. And he took steps to make sure that happened. In front of Botham's apartment is this extremely obvious bright red floor mat. Right in front of his door. I want to reiterate. Amber Guyger had no floor mat. She walked right up and stepped on top of this. This is Botham Jean. By all accounts, Beau was a wonderful, decent, kind man. On September the 6th of 2018, Beau was 26 years old. And he was sitting inside his apartment, the sanctuary of his own home at the Southside Flats. He was doing no harm to anybody, which was his wife. As a matter of fact, the evidence is going to show you that he was sitting in his living room in shorts and a t-shirt, watching TV, eating a bowl of vanilla ice cream. Any one of us would have been doing. When all of a sudden, Amber Guyger comes through his front door, uninvited. The light from the hallway must have flooded his apartment. The noise from the door must have scared him to death. As Bo is trying to get up off the couch to find out what this intruder is doing coming into his home, she is leveling off her gun, having acquired her target, and she shoots at him twice. No opportunity for de-escalation. No opportunity for him to surrender. Bang, bang, rapid, double tap. One of these bullets, we don't know which one hit him. We know there were 2 shots. One of them landed where it was aimed. The other one goes past Bo, goes through his back wall into the darkness of the city behind. Thank God nobody else was hurt, because it's all residential behind there. The other bullet takes a very remarkable downward course, which is going to be indicative of the trajectory, and that's going to be very important. Hits Bo in the chest just above his left nipple. The path of that bullet goes down into his heart, does absolutely devastating damage. Goes through his lung, goes through his stomach, goes through his intestine, until it finally comes to a rest in what's called the psoas muscle, which is halfway between his stomach and his back, in a dense pack of muscle. This path is very revealing because it is consistent with the fact that Bo was getting up from his seated position and facing the door as Amber Guyger was coming into his home. The only other reasonable position that would explain that kind of a path is equally as innocuous for Bo. It would place him in a cowering position, hiding behind a 3-foot wall, a few feet in front of him that separated him from the shooter. Now, the effect of this bullet was catastrophic. Bo had, as in medical examiner parlance, had a couple of steps of purposeful movement left in his body before he fell to the ground. And there he lay, on his back, in his home, bleeding to death, alone with his killer. So you might be asking yourself, as did we, how does Amber Guyger come to be standing over the dying Botham Jean, an unarmed man in his own apartment, having just shot him? Well, in order for us to get that answer, we began to work right away, reconstructing her day on September the 6th. So, we're going to get into that in a second, but I'm going to tell you the short answer is simply this. In the last 10 minutes of Bo's life, Amber Guyger made a series of unreasonable errors and unreasonable decisions and unreasonable choices. The kind of choices and decisions that only she could have stopped the errors from happening again and again and again, and she didn't. And for her errors, for her omissions, Botham paid the ultimate price. September the 6th, 2018 for Amber Guyger started pretty much like any other Thursday. She lived in the Southside Flats apartment, the same apartment complex as Bo. She lived in apartment 1378. He lived in apartment 1478. She was on the 3rd floor. Bo was on the 4th floor. One right on top of the other. Based on the data we have available, it looks like she was up around 7 a.m. Her work starts at 8. She had moved into this complex about 2 months before. At the time, she was assigned to the crime reduction team of the Dallas Police Department, a 5-year police veteran with the Dallas Police Department. She gets into work shortly before 8. She gets her body cam on, and her usual hours for work are 8 to 4 p.m. Now, it's not unusual at all for members of the CRT team to be working overtime. You're going to hear from the evidence that it's not uncommon in police work for officers to work long hours. They receive the training Hopefully they're in the physical condition and they got the mental acuity to do that job. She had proven her worth. Let me talk to you about what that's like. Because here's the point that I'm going to make. Amber Guyger worked a long shift that day. She worked a 13-and-a-half-hour shift. But I want you to understand, she wasn't laying asphalt. That's a hard job too. Being a police officer is a hard job. But I don't want to give the impression that she was running around chasing criminals all day long. Most of the day she spent at the Dallas Police Headquarters, which is an office building. Like any office building that we're all familiar with. Climate controlled, food, TVs, break rooms, computers, allowed to play on your phones, text, call. Her job, and the job of any officer who is sitting on a prisoner, they need to sit outside the interview room and make sure those prisoners don't act a fool. So it can be dangerous. I take nothing away from that. And I give them their credit. On this day, however, apparently nothing went wrong. It looks like the interviews were conducted safely. Everybody got to go home.
I was in my apartment, and I shot a guy thinking that he was thinking it was my apartment. He shot someone. Yes. Where are you at right now? I'm in, what do you mean? I'm inside the apartment with him. Hey, come on, what's your name? I'm Amber Guyger. I need to get me, I'm in. Okay, we have help on the way. I know, but I'm with my dog. I thought it was my apartment. Okay. I'm going to need to provide help. Hey, bud. Hey, bud. Hey, bud. My apartment. I guess we don't help out. My apartment. Hurry, please. Go there. I'm not worried. I thought it was my apartment. I thought it was my apartment. I could have sworn I parked on the third floor. Okay, which time? No. It was my apartment. It was my apartment. It was my apartment. I thought it was my apartment. And then what they get over there? I don't know. Yeah. Okay. I thought it was my apartment. They're trying to get in there. We have an officer there. You don't know the gate code? No. I thought it was my apartment. Okay, and what floor are you in right now? The fourth floor. Hey, bud, come here, bud. I'm sorry, man. Okay, where was he shot? He's on the top left.
As a person, and I don't wish anything bad on you. I don't know if this is possible, but can I give her a hug, please? Please?
Yes.
If you truly are sorry, I know I can speak for myself. I forgive you. And I know if you go to God and ask Him, He will forgive you. I don't think anyone could say it. Again, I'm speaking for myself, not even bad for my family. But I love you just like anyone else. And I'm not gonna say I hope you rot and die just like my brother did, but I personally want the best for you. And I wasn't gonna ever say this in front of my family or anyone, but I don't even want you to go to jail. I want the best for you. Because I know that's exactly what Botham would want you to do. And the best would be give your life to Christ.
We, the jury, find unanimously that the defendant did not cause the death of Botham Jean while under the immediate influence of sudden passion arising from an adequate cause, and assess the defendant's punishment at 10 years imprisonment in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. In addition, we assess a fine of $0, and it's signed by the presiding juror. Would you like to have the jury poll?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any legal reason why this sentence should not now be imposed?
Very well.
It is therefore the order, judgment, and decree of the court that you be taken by the Sheriff of Dallas County and safely transported by her to an agent or representative of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, and there you shall be confined until your sentence is discharged. Your sentence will begin today, and you will receive credit for any back time that you had. That being concluded, you may be seated, Ms. Guyger.